Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Monday, November 18th, 2024. And today's conflicted card, conflicted deck 1, is the, what is this, of hearts? The 3 of hearts. This is an interesting one. Think about what you would do in this case. You're a member of a congregation in a Jericho type situation, end of the world, civilization collapse. You have your community, and the congregational leader has formed a battle plan for you and the warrior members of the group to go out and ransack another community and to murder the old, the young, the women, to leave no survivors. What would you do? There's only one answer. You have to kill that congregational leader in front of everyone the moment he sort of gives that proclamation. He'd probably do it in secret, which means you're going to have to kill him in front of a small group of people, and then challenge them. Hey, is this who we're going to be? You don't kill women and children. At the very best, at the very worst, you would, take them hostage or take them prisoner. And that's a terrible thing to consider too. If you're up against a community like that, find a way to negotiate peace. It's the only answer. Or do the one-on-one fight, like Achilles and Boagrius. And that way you do a patch over. You shouldn't be planning raids by congregational leaders if you're proclaiming to be a religious group where you're planning to go murder women and children. You can't tolerate that. If you're trying to rebuild civilization, you can't do it by being uncivilized. Which is a good intro for today's Tarzan. Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, number 14 by Marvel Comics. This is a good one. This is still before Tarzan met Jane, and this is adapted from another Edgar Rice Burroughs story. Here we have, this episode is Klaus Janson on inks. John Buscema drawing, Roy Thomas writing, but Klaus Janson on inks and George Russos on colors. And Tarzan is hanging out with the monkeys. And he's been down at his cabin a lot more lately. He hasn't been with the tribe of Kerchak. They've kind of been on their own. And he had taught them to post guards, and they have forgotten. They have become lazy, and they have neglected to post guards. And this great ape of another tribe, who's been driven out of his tribe after losing a fight with that tribe's leader over claiming of a mate, is now wandered too close to Tarzan's tribe, and he sees Tika and her baby and decides he's going to take Tika as his mate. Tika is the mate of Taug, who's with Tarzan's friend, and so this guy runs in, and Tika tells her Balu, her infant, her baby, Gazan, to climb a tree, and she runs off. So Gazan climbs a tree and leaves this this great ape, whose name is Took, I believe. It's really close to Taug, T-O-O-K. Leaves him in the clearing, and Gazan starts tormenting him from the tree, throwing sticks at him and calling him names. And of course, this ape scampers right up the tree. He's not a giant lion, and his mother tells him to go up into the high branches where he won't be able to reach him. But of course, you could just break those branches, or in this case, shake them until the baby falls out of the tree, till Gazan falls almost to his death on the forest floor below. And then he chases off Tika. They get into a fight. He beats her unconscious and takes her as his own, leaving Gazan unconscious on the forest floor, where he can be eaten by any sort of predator. Tarzan, meanwhile, is out at his father's cabin. He's reading the books, he's checking out the cupboard contents, and he drops something, and it slides under the bed. He drops one of his father's gold coins. It rolls under the bed, where he finds a box of rifle shells. And these are interesting. He doesn't know what they are, so he puts them in his pouch, and he takes them along with him while he goes back to the tribe of Kerchak to see what's going on with them. Taug has discovered that his son has fallen out of the tree and is unconscious and is about to be eaten by a hyena. And he chases the hyena off as you can see in these pages. The art by John Buscema is really just amazing. And forgive me because I'm going to take a second to read which title this originally was. So this is adapted from the Edgar Rice Burroughs story, The Battle for Tika. And I love that they're able to take these from the wealth of source material because, Robert E. Howard died young, whereas Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote a whole lot of Tarzan. And so they're able, I suspect, in keeping with the Marvel method, if Roy Thomas just told John Buscema which book they were going to adapt, which story they were going to adapt, he wouldn't have even had to do any work until John had already finished his art, until he'd already finished his pages. Roy wouldn't have had to have written anything until the art was turned in. So here Tarzan arrives back at the tribe and learns what's happened, that Gazan has been hurt, and that Taug is furious. Tarzan listens to Gazan's heart. His heart is still beating. He's not dead. The apes had thought he was dead. And so Tarzan's like, no, he's okay, but we have to go after the man, the ape who took Tika before we lose his scent. We can smell him now. And there's a storm coming in. So they have to, oh, look at this. Red Sonja hanging out with Spider-Man, Captain America, the Hulk. Is Iron Man in there too? The Thing. It's not the Avengers. Sure ain't the Avengers. But that's a good ad. It's for some prize gimmick that Marvel was doing with candy bars. So here, Tarzan and Taug are heading after Tika and Took, but they have to find them before the rain washes away their scent. And they're able to find the other tribe where Took has returned with Tika as his new mate. And she, of course, threatens everyone there. I'm not your mate. I'm the mate of Taug, and we're the tribe of Kerchak. Stay away from me. And they all say, wow, she's ferocious, isn't she? That's this panel right up here. That's Tika. And so, yeah, this is what's happening when... Oh, and then, now in this panel right here, one of the other apes of that tribe says, hey, there's two apes following them, and one of them is the hairless devil we've heard so much about, the hairless white devil. So they know Tarzan's coming, and he is going to have to fight them to take Tika back. He's known her all his life. She was one of the tribal apes who was young when Tarzan was young. So they grew up together. And here they get into it. 6 panels of ape fights. Tarzan actually stabs and kills the leader of this tribe who had killed a bull earlier in that day. And so he's a little tired, he's a little exhausted, but he's the biggest one. And he attacked Tarzan. Tarzan stabs and kills him, and then Tarzan attacks the other apes and his knife gets knocked from his hand. And Tika finds the knife and his pouch of rifle shells. So she doesn't really know what she can do while all this is going on, the fight to rescue her. And she decides that she can throw these rifle shells and maybe at least hit one of the bad apes in the head. And one of the shells hits a granite boulder and goes off. That's not impossible. Apes are pretty strong. I suppose they could throw a rifle shell that hard. And it scares all the apes of the local tribe. They all run away. Taug, Tika, and Tarzan are free to return to the Kerchak tribe, and they don't have to continue the battle. And that's it. And so down here, the last panel is Roy Thomas explaining that the apes will soon forget the events, but Tarzan will not. And Tarzan now has these rifle shells, and he knows what they're about. Then Spider-Man fights someone for some Hostess apple pies. Or cherry pies. Apple and cherry, it looks like. So yeah, Tarzan number 14. Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle. And do I have anything to talk about? I've been seeing some nonsense online. Every time I open X or Twitter now, it's some race crime against whites. Blacks marching through Ireland, or, the Kalergi plan, this whole thing. where the Jews don't feel comfortable unless they're bossing everyone around, and therefore we have to let them boss everyone around. And they don't feel comfortable if whites have their own countries, therefore we have to let them genocide us in our own countries. It's not going to fly. I was talking with some friends of mine the other night, Saturday, and a lot of different subjects came up, but the immediate future of America and what's going to happen here. And, you know, the real question is, with all these Jew wars that are going on around the world, all these Jew scams, how long can they keep welfare running at home? Because the minute welfare shuts down anywhere in America or Europe, the race war is on and the whites take over again. So as long as the Jews can keep their Weimar Republic and keep everyone sated with candy and bread and circuses, candy and drugs, free porn and free drugs, as long as they can keep that shit going and keep the blacks in line, they can keep their little secret empire. It's not so secret anymore. A friend of mine was saying that BRICS will do a run on the dollar within 5 years. And I had said within 3, which sounds a little absurd now. I'd only had a couple beers, but I don't know. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. No one's going to allow the status quo to be maintained the way it is now. The status quo of the 80s would have been okay for everyone to tolerate, but it slowly got changed and no one is happy now. So the only thing you can be sure of is that things will change. And we won't be able to do Tarzan forever because there's not that many of these. We're going to have to go back to Conan or find some other series. Why are we out here in the first place? Legend of Ashley Fox, Legacy of a Mad Scientist. Amazing audiobooks. Amazing science fiction fantasy for you guys here on YouTube. If you have a fiction addiction like I do and you love comics and novels and stories and movies and TV shows and video games, Ashley Fox, Last Valkyrie PDF here in the description, plus a bunch of other links to a bunch of other stuff you might not have seen. It's all fun. It's all fun and games. So, till tomorrow. See you guys.